Today was the second day of the Budget 2019 committee stage debate. The expenditure heads of the ministries that come under the Prime Minister were debated today. During the debate, MP Vasudev Nanakar raised 22 explosive questions from the Prime Minister.
I wish to ask the Prime Minister whether he did not assure this House and the Bond Commission inquiry regarding the trustworthiness and credentials of Arjuna Mahendran. And do you still maintain your position or do you not? And are you aware that the Bond Commission observed that you should not have placed trust in Arjuna Mahendran? Did you not insist on Arjuna Mahendran's appointment as Governor, Central Bank of Sri Lanka, disregarding President Maithripala Sirisena's strong objections? And did you want the President to reappoint Arjuna Mahendran even after the bond scam for a second term? Does this not explain why you deliberately brought the central bank under your purview? By your assurance given to the Cabinet and to the President, did you not take personal responsibility for the honesty and trustworthiness of Arjuna Mahendran? And did you assure this House that you will have Arjuna Mahendran brought back here at any necessary given time? Can you account for this statement now? Question number 4, did Arjuna Mahendran play a role from his safe haven, even in the recent days, to find foreign fund resources to the central bank at 8% interest? In view of the foregoing facts, do you not admit that Arjuna Mahendran had been found by the Supreme Court to be a fraudulent manipulator, which important and relevant fact you had knowingly suppressed from this House and before the Bond Commission, which tantamounts to giving false evidence? And then why did you place trustworthiness? Then why did you place such credibility on the man's conduct when you were seeking the appointment for him as the Governor of the Central Bank? How can you account for your knowledge about the man and reconcile it with your request to have him appointed as the Governor of the Central Bank when you knew about the man's conduct or his misconduct according to the Supreme Court findings? Do you admit that fourth respondent in my case was former President Chandrika Kumaratunga and that she had signed an illegal transfer of 8.5 acres of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority land for 1,199.4 million, but which money has not been received by the Treasury, although she had confirmed under her signature that this money has been paid? The forensic audit has not even commenced. We like to know why. Will the Speaker report the Prime Minister to the Privileges Committee for lying to this House deliberately and being dishonest, which impinges on the dignity of this House? I hope you will allow me to table the report made by Ajit Niwad Cabral, the former Governor of the Central Bank, which is excellently explained in the cascading loss the government has had to suffer. I ask Chairman to kindly allow me to have this included in the Hansard if possible.
Included in the Hansard, Mr. Niwad Cabral is under investigation and these things are being, the forensic audit. That's a matter. You can table it. I have no problem to it being tabled.
No, I want it included in the answer.
I don't think without us verifying it, there's any this year not read it out in the House. You can't include a document in the Hansard without the authority of this House. We are not given the authority. He wants to table it and keep it in the library. Certainly do so. But Niwad Cabral is no, just wait. I'm only telling you one of the forensic audit is being done. But they are
so this is not the stage for you to reply.
This is not a matter.
This is not the stage for you to reply.
It is not a matter to be included in the Hansard.
In the Hansard.
Others are cases. I think what is the name of that case which you mentioned? Against whom did you file it?
That's the only case in which you were a respondent when I was a petitioner.
No, I want to refer to the case. What is the name of this thing?
The name is, you want the parties to the case.
Yeah.
Parties to the case was the Nanakar versus Ranil Wickramasinghe, third respondent.
The first respondent? First respondent. First respondent.
First respondent is Toxi.
Second respondent?
Second respondent is Karuja Surya.
Okay.
I am reducing.
Okay,
These are documents of the Supreme Court.
Okay. That's all right.
Ajit Niwad Kabralge Vartava Gana.
Why are you afraid of Ajit Niwad Kabral's report? Tell me. None of us were informed that there was an investigation against Ajit Niwad Kabral. On the other hand, there was a report that was presented to the Bond Commission inquiry. If the Bond Commission accepted it, how can you say that the document cannot be included in the Hansard? Therefore, I request the Prime Minister's objection to be rejected.
Ek Bond Commission එක පිළිගත්තා නම් ඒක කොහොමද Hansard එකට දාන්න බෑ කියන්නේ? ඒ නිසා අගමැතිතුමාගේ විරෝධය ඉවත දමන්නේ කියා ඔබතුමාගේ මායිල්ද
ගරු අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා
මේ Bond Commission එකේ ගත්ත හැම එකක්ම මේ වෙලා නැහැ. But anyway, I have raised it and finished. You can refer it to the speaker. තව කෑ ගහලා වැඩක් නැහැ උතන. ඉස්සෙක් වාගේ එච්චරයි තියෙන්නේ.
Now, when MP Vasudeva Nanayakkara today raised these questions in Parliament, one can clearly notice that it caught the Prime Minister off guard to a point where he even seemed to have panicked during the parliamentary debate. However, this was not the case when the same subject, being the bond scam, was raised in Parliament at previous occasions. Government MPs would raise a ruckus in the chambers, and the Prime Minister too would respond sarcastically or even mockingly at sometimes to questions surrounding Arjun Mahendran or the bond scam. But for some reason, that was clearly not the case today. We here at News First have continued to report on the bond scam and issues surrounding that. And one of the people who spearheaded the reporting on this matter is with us here today for an analysis of the situation. Farah Shaukat Ali, what's your take on this matter?
Yeah, good evening. You're absolutely right. In the past, when the Prime Minister has spoken in Parliament about the bond scam, he has gone out of his way, gone several extra miles to ensure the protection of the so-called reputation of Arjuna Mahendran and to justify all whatever they did and didn't do during the bond scam. But today, when Mr. Vasudeva Nanayakkara was delivering his 22-point questionnaire, the Prime Minister was quite colourblified, if you want, for want of another word, and he was in a bit of a tease. To the point that he didn't respond to Mr. Vasudeva Nanayakkara. He just made counter accusations. That appeared to me to give the game away.
Of course, for us, this whole culture of making counter accusations is nothing new in the political arena for Sri Lanka. Speaking of some corruption that has been going on in our country, of course, yesterday, Yasantha Dissanayake, the head of the financial management at Sri Lankan Airlines, testified before the Presidential Commission to inquire into irregularities at Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Lanka. And it was revealed that between the years 2009 and 2017, Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Lanka had caused the state a loss of approximately 163 billion rupees, which was further revealed that Sri Lankan Airlines has incurred a net loss of 143.23 billion between 2009 and 2017. Yasantha Dissanayake told the Presidential Commission that between 2007 and 2017, Mihin Lanka incurred a net loss of 19.79 billion rupees. Now, for us, losses at state institutions have been soaring through the roof, and despite repeatedly promising to get these loss-making state institutions back on track, the economic situation has only gone from bad to worse. And at the end of the day, the general public are the people who are paying for these losses. It's the taxpayers' money that's being used to reimburse these losses and to support the luxurious lifestyles that parliamentarians and political leaders in our country continue to enjoy.
Well, that's right, and the public might as well bear in mind, and I'm sure they do, that it is their taxpayer, their taxes that is being squandered by their mainly elected representatives in the House of Parliament. And tax upon tax is being imposed upon the general public without any apparent care for how the public are coping with these increasing cost of living burden, and the parliamentarians are acting as though they simply do not exist, that is, that the people do not exist.
And also for us, against such a backdrop now, trade unions today revealed another corrupt decision made by public representatives that was taken in the Ceylon Electricity Board.
There are nearly 5 million electricity consumers who pay their bills to the Ceylon Electricity Board. More than 50% of their bill is due to wastage and corruption. With regard to the CEB employees' EPF, the central bank has issued bonds worth 2,400 million to entrust securities. Several years have passed and we are clueless as to what happened to these funds. Annually, every employee incurs a loss of more than 100,000 rupees. That's not all. There is a pension for all employees as well. After retirement, the retired individual will receive a pension which will be 2/3 of the salary he received. However, the central bank intervened and paid the respective company 400 billion rupees through the bonds. Now, these monies cannot be located and the pension scheme suffers a loss of 14 million every 6 months. Why are the ministers and MPs remaining silent? We request them to intervene in this matter immediately. How can we provide jobs to the CEB? This is a document during Minister Siambalapitia's time. We challenge them to file a case against us. File a case and we will present along with employees at courts. These are promissory notes and they are not forged documents. Innocent people from the Ampara and Siambalandua area have promised employment at the CEB. These innocent people have even paid money. When we showed these documents to Minister Ravi Karnanayake, he said that these documents are already in his possession. Officers attached to the ministry asked where are the names. I stated, these are the receipts issued by the bank in return for the deposits made by these people. The minimum amount that has been charged for a job at the CEB is 300,000 rupees. A maximum of 500,000 rupees had been charged. If the minister does not take action against this matter, we will call about 100 individuals who have paid money to secure a job at the CEB for the next press briefing. During the time of the national government, parliamentarians Siambalapitiya and Ajit P. Pereira were in charge of the respective subject ministry. Even the judiciary is not legal. It is with much responsibility that I state this. More than 1,000 jobs were given on the 3rd of December in a rush. 300,000 and 500,000 rupees were the rates. Ultimately, it is the people who must bear all the burden.
Like magicians, Sri Lankan politicians have proved that they too are masters in the art of misdirection. Let's now take a look at some statements that were made in recent times to divert the attention of the general public from the real issues that the country faces.
I propose as a backbencher MP that if the government is corrupted and if the president is trying to take down this government by frequent attacks, then we won't let his expenditure head to be passed. We will defeat it. Definitely, we are of that stance. Ministers will take whatever decision they want. It doesn't matter to us. The backbenchers have decided not to support the president.
That is our personal opinion.
As backbenchers of the parliament, we request the Prime Minister to take a decision regarding the expenditure head of the president, if the president is not supporting the government to reach its expected levels. We will dedicate all our strength to defeat the president's expenditure head.
Despite the countless issues that everyday Sri Lankans have to grapple with on a daily basis, during the past few weeks, the budget and the expenditure head of the president was the priority of the political leadership in the country. UNP backbenchers repeatedly stated that they will defeat the expenditure head of the president. But when the matter came up in Parliament, the leader of the House, Lakshman Kiriyala, stood up and said that they do not require a vote on the expenditure head. This clearly indicates that all this commotion created by these MPs was merely to inflate their image. Even the MPs of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party said that they object the proposals in the budget and that they will vote against it. But during the budget vote, certain Sri Lanka Freedom Party MPs didn't even have the guts to sit in the chambers and voice their opposition where and when it mattered the most. They were simply absent during the vote. The leader of the TNA, R. Sambanthan, after the budget reading said that he is dissatisfied with the allocations made for the Northern Province, but instead of standing for the expectations of his constituents, he voted in favour of the budget. M.A. Sumantiran from the TNA too, speaking to Lanka before the budget reading as the chairman of the Committee on Public Finances, said that the figures of the budget are inflated and distorted and the actual monetary values are not released to the public domain. Now, after making such a statement, a well-informed member of the public would think that he would vote against the budget. But no, he too followed suit and voted in favor of the budget. How long will our public representatives continue to deceive us? Of course, previously we aired a clip that showed 22 explosive questions that were directed to the Prime Minister by Vasudeva Nanayakkara, and we continue to say that instead of simply responding to these questions and providing answers to them, what the Prime Minister did was level counter-allegations at the previous regime. Now, these are a few clips from the past just to remind you of what the Prime Minister's position was, and we are unsure as to if he still holds that position, but these are clips to show what the Prime Minister's position was when the bond scam was initially revealed.
There is nothing to claim the governor of the central bank was involved in this. He had given instructions in the presence of 2 other deputy governors. The allegation the governor intervened in the tender process is a baseless one. On the 27th of February, I appointed a 3-member committee to inquire into the 30-year bond issue. How else am I to look at this? This cannot be referred to the monetary board. I need to be satisfied with this first. When I met Arjuna Mahendan last week, he said that he will be attending a wedding and will return. He hasn't fled the country like Udayanga Veeratunga.
Contradictory statements are expressed by our politicians on a daily basis. Yesterday, we had a report that resonated with the voice of the masses of Sri Lanka, and due to repeated public interest, we will air it again today.
Tonight, we have decided to voice what many of us are thinking. This statement is made to all politicians and all political parties currently representing the people in Parliament. On behalf of all 21 million Sri Lankans, please stop destroying the lives of our people. Stop playing with our futures. Together, you are all ruining our nation. You are stealing the people's hard-earned money. The people are sick of this. There is no hope in sight. Clearly, those in power are incapable of running our nation, and those not in power are not a viable alternative either. Together, they cover each other's tracks and pillage the people. The people are struggling. The economy is in dire straits. Education is in shambles. Healthcare is collapsing. The private sector can't afford to pay salaries. There is no growth, no hope, only despair. Please, for the sake of the people and future generations, if you cannot rule justly and competently, just leave and move out of government. While you have fattened yourself, your greed for power has left our people in a desperate state. You have sold our lands. You have sold our ports. You have sold our airports. You have sold our invaluable natural resources. You have even sold our oceans. To all politicians in Parliament, the people say, enough is enough.